Hello, and welcome back to the Talking Apron, the podcast where we kind of keep it real about life with diabetes and what it takes to live well with it. I'm your host, Ann Bernardin, and today we're diving into something that every single human has to face at one point in their life, and it's about a choice, about health or comfort. Let me be blunt, really blunt. Changing your eating habits for a healthier life isn't just tough. It's one of the hardest things you will ever do. And I know this not just as a diabetic and as a diabetes and lifestyle coach, but as someone who lives with type 1 diabetes every single day. And at one point in my life, I've been 40 pounds overweight. I've been in the trenches of cravings, convenience foods, and the just this once I'll have this food excuses. And I was living surrounded by friends who told me, "You look great," with a BMI that took me into the obese range. But today, I'm not sugarcoating a thing. Let's talk about why it's so hard, and more importantly, how you can get through it. There are going to be 3 different segments. The first is the 5 reasons why changing eating habits can feel or seem impossible. The second is the myths that we may tell ourselves. And the third is how to push through the hard stuff. So go ahead and go grab your cuppa and we'll get started. Here are 5 reasons why changing our eating habits can feel or seem impossible. First up, we have the emotional attachments. You know, food is comfort, food is celebration, food is a reward. Whether it's grandma's cookies or pizza on a Friday night to finish the work week, we don't just eat because we're hungry. We eat because it's tied to our emotions. That makes changing our habits feel like losing a part of who we are. It's not just about the food. It's about what it represents. Love, security, the calmness. Then we have the convenience trap. Fast food is fast for a reason. It's cheap, it's everywhere. And when you're exhausted after a long day, the thought of chopping veggies feels like running a marathon. The convenience of unhealthy eating is a huge obstacle. Add that to that convenience trap is the biological pull. Let's not forget, your body is working against you. Processed foods are engineered to keep you hooked. Sugar lights up your brain like a drug. And then the additives to other chips and French fries make you craving and wanting more. Cutting these foods out doesn't just feel hard, it's a literal withdrawal. And if that's not enough, we have all the cultural norms and peer pressures. You know, eating healthy can make you feel like you're the odd one out at the party, a holiday dinner, or even lunch with friends. It's easier to fit in than explain why you're skipping dessert or asking for a side of veggies instead of fries. And then the last, it goes back to the biological pull, are all the chemical additives that companies are putting in our foods that create that addictive desire to eat. So not only do you have the biological, because your body got addicted, but now you have companies that are thwarting you from getting and staying healthy. This is a huge issue with our foods today. It keeps the obesity cycle going on to type 2 diabetes occurrence, and then it adds in the pharmaceuticals who want to give us drugs instead of saying, change the way you eat. It's a real difficult thing to combat, those 5 different things alone. So no wonder it's hard to change the way we eat. This next segment is about the myths we tell ourselves. The myth of, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow turns into next week, which turns into next month. Now, let me tell you the truth. There is no perfect time to start. Every day you wait is another day that you're making it harder to change. I'm in the midst of that right now. On my list is to start lifting weights to help my muscles and bones. And I'm not talking about lifting 100 pounds. I'm talking about keeping my body active. And yep, I have that I'll start tomorrow. I'm in this with you. Another myth that we tell ourselves is healthy food is boring. This one's on us. If we keep eating bland chicken and steamed broccoli, we're setting ourselves up to fail. There are so many delicious ways to make healthy meals, but you have to put in the effort to learn and try. Here's the next lie we tell ourselves. One little cheat won't hurt. This mindset is like a slow leak in a tire. One little cheat can derail the progress you've worked so hard to achieve, especially if it becomes a habit. Be honest with yourself about your boundaries. And what I mean by that is, I know this one little cheat, if I have a bag of potato chips in my home, I'll be cheating all day, which is why I don't buy them anymore, because it's not good for me. I can't help myself with that one little chip. Do I eat potato chips? Yes. If they're on a buffet line, if they come with a meal I have eating out. So I do enjoy them, but I don't buy them anymore. Here's another lie we tell ourselves. I can't afford healthy food. Are you kidding me? Yes, eating healthy can feel more expensive, but you're either paying for good food now or medical bills later. Healthy eating is an investment in your future self. And I'm just going to add this to the mix. The price of food is expensive now. Do you know I'm one of 8 children? And when those packaged foods started coming out in the 60s and 70s, the hamburger helper, all those things, it was cheaper for my mom and dad with our large family to buy noodles, ground beef, sauce, and spices than it was to buy 3 boxes of hamburger helper. Because fresh ingredients generally are cheaper. That $4.50, $5, $6 box of cereal that goes away after 3 days is expensive processed foods. Those, because they don't give to our body. So those are the 4 myths that we tell ourselves. I'll start tomorrow. Healthy food is boring. One little cheat won't matter. And I can't afford healthy food. So how do we push through the hard stuff, those hard days? You start small. That's what I've been saying all along. If you listen to any of my other podcasts, it's small steps. But be consistent. Don't overhaul everything at once. Pick one meal, say breakfast, and make it a little bit healthier. And once you've mastered that and got used to that change and used to purchasing differently, organizing differently, then you move on to the next. Now, If you're someone who doesn't know what healthy really is, or if you're confused about sugar and carbohydrates, download the link that you find in the description to this podcast, and you'll receive free a guide that's called Doctor's Orders: Why Cutting Sugar Isn't Just About Sweets. It'll help you understand how making choices and what carbohydrates are better for you, and that will build your confidence in your diabetes care journey. Again, you can find the link in the description. Doctor's Orders: Why Cutting Sugar Isn't Just About Sweets. Next up, and how to push through that hard stuff, is plan like your health depends on it, because it does. Failing to plan means planning to fail. Don't I know that? As a type 1 diabetic, if I don't have food in my house that I know that I can eat to keep my blood sugar balanced throughout the day, then I'm going to have a roller coaster day. Blood sugar's going up and down and up and down. So I spend at least 10 minutes, probably more like 30, at the beginning of every week, planning not really my meals, but the foods I'm going to have on hand. I do prep some basic choices ahead of time. I'll cook up some vegetables. I'll know what salad ingredients I'll have. I'll have a cooked protein, and maybe I'll have a full meal that I can heat up as a leftover. I think about my proteins, my veggies, my snacks. So you start doing the same. So then you'll have no excuse to grab junkier foods when you're hungry. Prepare ahead of time. The other thing is changing your environment. That'll help you get through the hard stuff. And what I mean by that is your environment shapes your choices. If your pantry is full of chips and cookies, you're going to eat chips and cookies. Clear out the junk, stock up on the healthier options, so it allows you to align with your goals. If it means cleaning your kitchen counter, do that. If it means no longer sitting in front of the TV to eat, but sitting at the table by yourself, do that. Change the environment that isn't supporting you. The next one up for the tough stuff to get through is embrace discomfort. Yeah, I know this one pretty darn well. Let's call it what it is. Change is uncomfortable. But guess what? That discomfort is where the magic happens. If you're not a little uncomfortable, you're not growing. What do I mean by that? How do you be uncomfortable? Let's say you go to someone's house for dinner and they bring out, or you're asking what's for dinner, and you see that all it is baked potatoes, steak, and salad. Okay, that sounds great, except maybe you shouldn't be eating all that baked potato. So take a bigger portion of salad. Cut a potato in half. Say no, thank you. Get uncomfortable. Say no, thank you. Your health depends on you being uncomfortable making those hard choices. And the last one, helping you get through those tough things, are celebrate the wins, those small changes. And it doesn't matter how small. You made it through the day without grabbing fast food or having the candy that was on your neighbor's desk at work. Celebrate. You made it one day. You cooked dinner 3 nights this week. Celebrate. You didn't pick up fast food on your way home. It's progress, not perfection. That's the goal. Small changes all along the way. Changing the way you eat isn't a walk in the park. It's messy. It's frustrating. It's depressing, and sometimes it feels impossible. But when you get on the other side of all that, you know that you can do hard things. If it seems to you like you're climbing Mount Everest, then tell yourself you're in training for climbing Mount Everest. You owe it to yourself to try, to stumble, to keep going. The rewards for trying are great. Now, in the next few episodes that I'll be posting in the next few weeks, we'll be going into more detail on a few of these talking points that I've had in this episode, specifically the ones at the beginning in the first segment. I want to thank you for joining me today on the Talking Apron podcast. If you're ready to make those changes, but you need support, check out our coaching program. There's a link for a free consultation in the description, and grab that free guide. Get started. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, share it with a friend, and leave a review. You never know who might need to hear this message today. Until next time, remember, one meal, one choice at a time, you're building a healthier, happier life that you deserve.